Welcome into the Fit Parent Podcasts. I am your host, Jeff Delzell. I'm here with Amy,
Hello.
who is done with contractors.
I'm so done. If anyone
So
wants a
done.
recommendation on who to use, do not come to me. I
Yeah.
do not have positive reviews.
Oh, jeez. Going on, just like I don't feel like anybody who I've ever talked to who gets work done in their house gets
I
it
mean,
done on
that's
time.
John and I were talking about that this morning. I'm like, we've had friends like from all different walks of life have had work done on their houses, and no one has had a positive experience. So I'm like, but what can be done to fix that in the contractor community? Because they don't care. Because they're
I
like,
think
we are
it's
so
just
busy, we don't care.
I think it's just an expectations thing, right? So this comes back to the thing that we talk about all the time, is expectation drives perception, perception drives reality. So if they had told you it's going
Mm-hmm.
to be 6 months, you
We're
would
like,
have,
well, that sucks, but okay.
you would have maybe made a different decision or you would have gone into it, but it's the like, oh, it's going to be this. And then it just kind of keeps getting pushed.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody's like, oh, I'm going to be there in 10 minutes
Yeah.
and then it's 15, 20, 25, and then they
Right.
keep being like, oh, it's actually 10 more. It's just like, just tell me you're late
Yeah.
one time and
Yeah,
tell
just be
me when
honest.
to expect you. Like, I don't.
Yeah. And that's the conversation we've had with them over and over and over and over again. It's just not sinking in. I'm like, we don't mind delays if we know they're happening. If we go to the house with the expectation that what you said was going to be done was done and it's not done, we get mad. But had you said, hey, X, Y, or Z has happened in the schedule with the whatever subcontractors, this couldn't happen, it's been pushed. That sucks, but we get it. Like, we're
It's
understanding people.
yeah,
I'm
it's
just
it's a thing where
frustrated.
like the what are you gonna do at this point too?
Oh yeah,
Like
we're
for the
handcuffed.
like
We're
you're
handcuffed.
handcuffed to them and they know
Yep.
you are, and
Yep.
so it's like they're out there just trying to get business
Mm-hmm.
versus
Yep.
delivery on the business. This is a business
Exactly.
lesson
This is
that I go
business.
through.
Yeah.
This is a
I.
business lesson that I teach all of my OTM students. And this is a
Yeah.
little aside, and then I'll get into what we're going to get into today. In full disclosure, I'm kind of stalling for what we're going to get into today, and you'll understand when we get there. But I tell all my coaching students, have you heard of the Savannah Bananas? So the Savannah Bananas, for those of you who don't know, like they basically created
They're
their
like,
own sport.
it's
So
like
they
Harlem
used to,
Globetrotters of baseball
yeah, but on
on
every level
steroids.
better,
Oh my
and
gosh, yes.
I love if you ever want like a business 101, and it's not everything, but they have created this international brand that's probably worth over $1 billion at this point.
Oh, yeah. I think Bananas players are paid as well as MLB players.
No, they're not played as
They've
well as
gotta be.
No, they don't. MLB, like there's a guy making $80 million a year in the
To throw a ball.
Major League Baseball.
To
Like
throw a ball.
there's a guy who got a $700 million contract. Like Bananas are not doing
To
that.
throw a ball.
And to hit a
And
ball.
to hit a ball. And to catch a ball.
Yeah, no, like they're not making that. They actually came out and like they make on average $100K a year plus brand deals and things like that. So they're not making MLB money by any, like Major League Baseball. Each of those franchises
Mm-hmm.
is worth $1 billion or more. Like
Yeah.
the Major League Baseball in and of itself is probably worth 50, 60, 70 billion dollars.
Yeah.
So no, it's not quite to that level, but it is a big thing. But the lesson, the guy who kind of created it, his name is Jesse. He goes by Yellow Tux Jesse because he's always wearing a yellow tuxedo.
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever seen him, and if you ever want to like run through a brick wall, watch one of his like pregame talks to the whole team. But
Mm-hmm.
they have this motto, which is fans first. That's their way of doing business, which is we are going to make this about the fans, not about us. And
Yeah.
so what would this look like if it was fans first? And so they make a lot of choices that is just about customer service. And so they did one where they like accidentally sent, because their tickets are on a lottery.
Mm-hmm.
They accidentally sent out the lottery link to 80,000 people instead of the 8,000 that it should have gone to.
Mm-hmm.
And so a bunch of people got tickets that shouldn't have been able to. And basically what they did, instead of, doing any number of things that they could have done, they bought the tickets back from the people for a markup, and then also gave them tickets to another game.
That's incredible.
So like those people made money and got to go to another game on their own so that they could do it. And they like sent out, hey, we messed up, because this was about fans first versus like how do we win in the margins.
Mm-hmm.
And so they make those decisions. And because of those types of decisions, they've played at football stadiums,
Yeah.
like 110,000 people football stadiums, and are going absolutely nuts right now with this business, because it's about leading into customer service and just having the best product in the world and delivering on the customer experience, and then creating these raving fans. Like I've never seen a story of somebody who's like, I went to a Savannah Bananas game and it was not a great experience. Like it is a almost as close to universally wonderful experience as anything. The other place, you think of another place where they do their best to create this, is Disney World.
Yeah.
Which is like, people will pay just obscene amounts of money because Disney is so focused on the customer experience, right? It's the characters can't release a hug, and they always point with 2 fingers, and there's a trash can. You're never more than like, I forget what it is. It's 20 steps or something like that from a trash can.
With 2 fingers?
When they point, they always point with 2 fingers instead of 1 finger. I don't remember exactly why.
But there's a reason, there's a rationale.
There's a rationale behind it, is that they always point with 2 fingers. And the music that's playing, and everybody walks in through the same, they do a rope drop, everybody walks in through the same thing, you see the castle, and it's about creating a magical experience, the most magical place on earth, and people will just keep going back. My wife and my mother-in-law in April of last year went as Megan was 4 months removed from hip surgery, like couldn't really walk. Like they rented a wheelchair for one of the days because she was like not able to, but like they went down, and my mother-in-law is, I won't give away her age, but she's got a 35-year-old daughter, and still loves going down there.
Yeah. Because they work really hard to create an experience that people are appreciative of.
And so then Disney doesn't really need to do marketing.
No. Their fans market for them.
Yeah, the Savannah Bananas don't really need to do marketing.
There
are people who have created entire businesses around how to get the most out of your Disney experience. Not just travel agents, like people who are like, I'll create your itinerary for you in Disney.
Yeah.
Like they've created subsets of things. Like when I went viral a while ago with the parents, the babysitting thing. Yeah. Part of what made that go bonkers, and what makes it go bonkers, is you have people who respond to my thing. And so now all of a sudden I'm getting stitches, which is the Instagram thing of like, people will play my thing and then give their reaction to my thing, and it gets a life of its own. And that's what happens when you create such an experience for people that people resonate with. That is that. And so when I talk to coaches, I say, we talk all, in business coaching, it's oftentimes about the funnel, it's marketing, and it's sales, and it's conversion, and it's numbers, and all of that. And we have the 4 C's are the things that we talk about in OTM, which are content, conversations, calls, and clients. So it's, what content are you doing? This is your marketing. Conversations is your nurturing. Calls is your sales. And then clients is how you deliver. And we have a call every single week for each one of these components. How do you make better content? How do you do whatever? And every now and then I run the conversations call every week, but every now and then I sub in for Alex, who runs the clients call. And I say every single time I go and I run that call, I say, if you nail this, you'll actually never really have to be super good at any of the other things.
Mm-hmm. It's
Like if you
totally true.
nail the customer experience, you will always have referrals, you'll always have retention, you'll
Mm-hmm.
always be getting people results. And so people will ask them about it. And you won't have to play the marketing game.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a reason, guys, like I don't have the best content. I don't do anything particularly exceptional other than I coach my clients really well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that I take pride in. And it's the thing that, as the user in this experience, it's if you're constantly going out trying to find business, then it's a little bit of like, hey, just close the back door versus
Yes.
continue to try to get people to come in the front door. And so the fitness analogy to this is oftentimes, right, we are constantly looking for the next thing on the high level, like
Mm-hmm.
how do I get new clients is the or new customers or new things, and it's like how do I get a new whatever, and it's like, hey, maybe just do the things that you're already doing better and refine those things first, and then see if there's a need for more
Mm-hmm.
opportunity.
Yeah, you might not need more
For sure.
once you've like shored up all that stuff.
I tell people all the time, like when anybody asks me, like, do I do calorie counting with clients and things like that? Like on occasion I do, but
Mm-hmm.
the idea that like you're going to come in and from the jump, I'm going to give you a calorie number
Mm-hmm.
and macro targets is silly. That would
I
be
did
like a,
find that interesting when I was training with you at the
yeah,
beginning because everything I'd heard and read, it's like when you start, you get this very strict regimen of what your nutrition should look like, and I found that really refreshing that I didn't have that. All you made me do was take pictures of it and send you a picture of what I was eating and track it for myself so that I knew what I was eating, but not paying attention to the calories, just paying attention to your protein and your fiber and sending pictures, which like sneakily made me not like go for
for
the
sure.
Oreos because I'm like, I don't want to send Jeff a picture of Oreos.
Because it brings awareness to it. Like
Yeah.
it makes you second guess the decision that you're making. And
We
then you
opened a pack of
probably,
Oreos at dinner the other night because my niece was staying over, and she's like, "Well, I already ate one of the servings because there was 3 rows,
yeah,
and one whole row was gone." She's like, "I ate one of the servings." I was
that's
like,
awesome.
"It's like I like
She's
that."
my kind of people.
Oh, she's fantastic.
That's the idea, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
that, and then we did like, okay, what can we do here? Like let's make changes to what you're already doing and shore up the low-hanging fruit. Like if you already have clients, if you already have customers, like just, hey, are you doing everything that you can there? And then if you're doing everything you can there, then you work your way up the funnel a little bit. Then you work your way to the next thing and the next thing. But in the day and age that we're in of like constantly trying to get new,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the game of like, I'll be honest with you, I've been in business for over 6 years now. Is that true? It feels true.
Sounds
I don't
right.
know.
Yeah, you started COVID.
Well, coming up on 6 years of
Yeah.
coaching online. Like I've been
Mm-hmm.
coaching longer than that, but like it was the summer. Yeah, it was the summer of 2020 when I started coaching. But like I've been having to find clients even when I was in person for over 6 years. That's not fun.
No.
Going to find clients is not a fun thing. Keeping my existing clients and just having them be happy is a lot of fun. Getting people who are like, hey, so and so told me to reach out to you, that's a lot of fun. When I have other coaches referring me people, that's a lot of fun. Like that's where, and people are always like, how do you whatever it is, and how do you get to be, I'm like, guys, I do it a long time and try to get better and better at it every day. And I coach differently than when you started with me. I coach differently, and I would like to think better than when you started with me, because if I haven't grown in the last few years, then my clients are going to suffer for that. And so constantly trying to get better at the deliver in like the nuts and bolts part of it is the low hanging fruit for folks
Mhm.
that we miss out on. And it's not sexy. It doesn't sell. Like if I were to sell business coaching, I would sell like, here's how to get a bunch of leads. Here's how to make a bunch of sales. That's what I would sell if I was trying to sell it. I wouldn't say, hey, I'm going to get you your clients such great results that referrals happen, because referrals aren't sexy, even though they should be, but it's
Mhm.
not sexy. In the same way that I would not like, it's not great marketing for me to be like, hey, I'm gonna actually teach you like how to pay attention to your eating and just make better overall choices. And then all of a sudden you're gonna wake up one day and you'll have been in a calorie deficit for three
Mhm.
weeks.
Yeah, without
And that's what
realizing it.
happened, right? Like that
Yeah.
was I Mr. Miyagi'd you. It was like
Yeah, it's
wax
pretty
on,
cool.
wax off, and then one day you were like, okay,
Oh, wait a minute.
I know how to do, I
Right.
know, or you're Keanu Reeves in The Matrix, like I know kung fu, like, like I know how to do this. It was just like,
That's good.
yes, I've done it.
I've done it.
Like that was
Yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot that quote, but that's sort of the
Yeah.
direction that we go to, and so a lot of it is just navigating the normal.
Mhm.
And so that's actually what I want to talk about today. And so I'm glad actually that we got there, because it set it up well, and it wasn't
You're
planned
welcome.
that week. You helped me out. I had another way that we were going to get into it, and I'll still tell that anyway. But um, navigating the normal. So we talked about like overcoming your environment on the last episode, which was um, like, hey, these are the circumstances that come up that we can kind of anticipate. But then there are the odd, the
Mhm.
anomalies,
Mhm.
the strange things that come up that we still need to navigate. And so the best example is, as we record this, we just had, in New England at least, this is the most snow that I can remember since, I don't know if there was this much, but it's the most that I can remember, like in terms of this level of storm, since I was in college.
Yeah, 2014
Yeah,
was the last
yeah.
storm like this.
Was it 24? I was like, I didn't remember if it was 2013 or 2014,
Yeah, we
because I was
had
in
him.
my, yeah. So it was, but I remember it because we had like people stay over at our apartment, and
Yeah.
and we were just like, went outside and just tackled each other in the snow. And
Yeah, 'cause so much of it. This is
it
like
was,
Blizzard of 78 snow,
yeah,
which
it
neither of
was
us were alive for, but I still
bonker.
claim to remember it, even though it
It
was
was
3 years before I was born.
bonkers amount of snow
Bonker.
here.
Bonkers. We are well
I,
over 2 feet where we are.
yeah, I think I'm flirting with 3. Like when I went out and I made a couple of crucial rookie errors.
I saw that on your feed, Jeff.
It was embarrassing to be a New Englander. But
Yeah.
I underestimated the amount of snow we were going to get. Next time I will estimate it appropriately, but that was, I looked out and I was
Ugh,
like, ain't no way it keeps up this pace, all night long. And
all
it
night long.
totally did. And I
All
also,
night
I'll be
long.
honest, I opted for watching football instead of going out. Like I was watching the NFC Championship game,
Yeah.
and I could have maybe snuck out at halftime to do it, but I had not yet picked up the house at that point, because as soon as I put the kids to bed, I came down and started watching football. And so I opted to clean up the house. So the house was clean when I came downstairs. But when I went outside and it was still more than 12 hours from being done,
Mhm.
it was above my snowblower. The end of my driveway with the plow was at a minimum 4 feet. It was chest height as a floor. I had to
Yep.
shovel the
And that's
top layer
compacted.
off. Yeah, I had to shovel the top layer off to be able to get my snowblower through the end of the driveway. I had to go 6 inches at a time. Like it
Mhm.
was wild.
Nuts.
Last night I went out for the second go around, because I went out at 8 o'clock yesterday morning and did it. And
Mhm.
there was another 6 inches that happened during the day yesterday. And then something I thought about, but I didn't really think about, and maybe I just didn't anticipate what we had yesterday.
That's probably what it was.
But the trampoline that we got over the summer,
Oh no, it can tear if it has too much weight on it.
So that was a thing where I was like we had called a friend who was the one who recommended it to us. And I was like, hey, do we need to like flip this thing over for the winter? And she's like, we've had it through 4 winters and we've never had to do anything. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I haven't done anything with it all winter. It's been fine,
Hmm.
because we haven't had more than maybe a foot of snow at
We
any
got
point.
more snow yesterday than we did all of the winter before.
Yeah, we did not get a ton yesterday or last year rather, but I went out and I looked at it. And it was sagging. It was
Yep.
getting down there,
Hmm.
and I was all right. I should probably go clear this thing off. So after last night, put the kids to bed, go outside, snow blow the driveway again, then shovel off the front walkway,
Hmm.
which I had snow blowed not like onto the walkway basically, so the front walkway was up to my chest. I'm like looking at it and I'm like up above my head
Yep.
shoveling this thing off. It took me, you know 45 minutes to just do my short little walkway. And then I go, okay, I got to get over there, and I can't get into my backyard because we have a
Snow's up to your
fence.
waist.
Oh no, we have a
The
fence.
gate.
The
Oh
gate's frozen
no.
shut, so
Yep.
I can't. And so I was like, can I shovel this gate open? And I can't shovel the gate open. So I'm just like, okay, we're just gonna do this. And I wish I had videoed it. Like in hindsight, I should have videoed what happened. But I hop the fence and land in the 4-foot snowbank
Hmm.
and crawl my way like through snow that's up to my waist over there. And then I go to get into
You
the
dive.
trampoline. No, I didn't dive because I was afraid it was gonna snap
Right.
if I put my weight on it with the
Yeah.
snow. But then I get in there to try to chuck the snow out, and I'm like, I don't know how to get you snow out of a
There's
trampoline
there's nowhere
because I
for it to
got the
go.
little window.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is the snow was basically up to the height of the trampoline outside of it. So if I pushed it out after 2 pushes, the window's blocked. So I got to chuck it over the net to try to get the snow off this thing. And it's slip sliding around and giving and everything. And
Was
that
Meg
took.
watching from inside with a cup of tea?
No, she wasn't. And I'll explain why shortly.
I would have been.
Yeah, I'm sure
Like,
she would have in other
oh, that
circumstances.
looks challenging.
Yeah, one for you. But I got it cleared. It took a bit. And I was like, this was something. But
Yeah.
that was the day, right? It was
a
a
whole day.
snow day.
Yeah.
And we were stuck in the house for
Yep.
whatever, 36 hours or something like that by the time we got everything done. And I think a lot of people had a similar experience because it was basically everything like on a diagonal in the United States, everything east of Ohio
Hmm. Got
and
slammed.
south
Hmm.
got wrecked.
I sent my
And
sister a picture of the snow, and she's like, "Oh, my 4-year-old is also complaining that she's just done with this winter already," and sent me a picture of what they were dealing with. And she's like, "There's frost on 3 blades of grass." They live in North Carolina. They did not get very much, but Noelle is like, "I'm done with all this snow." Like, okay, sweetheart.
when we
Yeah.
when we lived in Atlanta, we had a snowfall the first winter when we were down there. And it was
Mhm.
probably shortly after we moved. I think it was the week or two that we moved down there. I was 5, so I don't remember most of this, but uh, the way that Atlanta is set up is it's a bunch of subdivisions,
Mhm.
neighborhoods with 250 houses and like
Mhm.
a communal pool
Yep.
and tennis courts and things like that. I think I've told this story. Like you would play. My parents on the weekends would play tennis against other neighborhoods. Like it was a neighborhood tennis team and neighborhood swim teams. There was that many. It was 250 houses, and in a 250 house neighborhood, when the snowstorm hit, we were the only ones with a snow shovel.
Mhm.
The city shut down for 2-3 days. It just
Yeah.
they don't know what to do. They don't have
They
the
don't know what to do
infrastructure
with
for
it. Yeah.
versus we were out there driving this morning, like
Yeah, I
I
went to the
90
gym at 8.
95 at 5:30 this morning when I'm driving on 95. The road itself, you would have never known we had snow. It was black
We
across.
do it well.
It wasn't even the remnants of it. You know how you sometimes have the remnants of it in the tire tracks? There was nothing. It was
No, we
as
do it well up here.
clear as a bone
Yeah.
on 95 going north. And so we have these interruptions and challenging situations. And some of them we can maybe anticipate a little bit. Like people kind of knew this was coming down the
You know the
pike
storm
on
is coming.
Friday or Thursday or something like that. But it was, what do we do when the plan goes awry? What do we
Mm-hmm.
do when lifes? Because we talk about this a lot. Like life has a way of lifing. And
Sure
so
does.
what can we do in these situations? And it's oftentimes, again, readjusting our expectations,
Mm-hmm.
but also readjusting what is the purpose of what I'm doing right now. So, as a for instance, getting a workout in yesterday. I woke up early to still get a workout in. Not because I wanted to get up early, not even because I wanted to really push myself super hard, because I knew I was going to be outside and shoveling and in the snow and all this kind of stuff. It wasn't like I was trying to beat myself into the ground during that workout. But I woke up still to do the workout, one, for the consistency element of it, but more importantly, because I could have found another time to maybe do it during the day. There would have been plenty of time. I could have brought the kids down, and it wouldn't have been ideal, but it could have done it. What was the purpose of my workout yesterday morning?
Consistency.
Yes, and it was 35 minutes for me to do something for me
Mm-hmm.
before a full day inside the house with three
With 3
kids
kids.
who, I'll be honest with you, I was thinking about bringing them out, but we didn't. And I felt badly. I felt like a boring parent, but it was too
Over their
tall for them.
heads. It was
It was
over
too
their
tall for them.
heads.
There was
Mm-hmm.
no, and it wasn't like I could really build it in such a way that I'm like, they're not gonna get buried by this.
Mm-hmm.
Legitimately, it was at least up to the shoulders of our kids. And so I don't, it wasn't a situation where I felt good. And it would have been different if we could have gotten into the backyard.
Right.
But
That would have been safe and different.
and maybe I could have done it with like going down the gate, the back deck stairs, but it was a situation where I wasn't sure if it was. And again, hindsight 2020, maybe we could have pulled it off, but it was a decision that we opted for
Mm-hmm.
because it was so deep. It was just so deep and so
Yeah.
fluffy that I when I went out to do it, and I just sank right in
Right.
it when I took a
Right.
step.
They would have been miserable because they
I
would have
was
sunk and freaked out. That's what.
freaked out.
Yeah, it's
Particularly Parker
scary.
would have really freaked out.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, if it makes you feel better, Emerson did go out and play, but she was only able to play on the snowbanks that the plow truck had like piled up because everything else was so deep that she's like, it is so hard to walk through that. I'm just gonna play on the snowbank and just like slide down it. But
yeah,
she was out there for like half an hour. She's like, I'm done. This it wasn't as
yeah.
fun as I thought.
I wanted to do it, but we didn't do it, and I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to do it, and so I was like, and even if I did, I knew that even that was going to be just as high stress,
Yeah,
as
totally.
keeping them in the house
Totally.
and managing all of that. And so I wanted to have the time to just move my body, to have that psychopathic quiet time where I just sat down here with no noise, and to have just a moment to do that, go up, have my breakfast, have a quiet time, and just gear myself up for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so that I could navigate the situation that was in front of me. Because oftentimes we are constantly thinking that we have to be, when we think about consistency, we think about it as at a level 10.
Mm-hmm.
And so often the decisions that we make are not about the benefit that we're going to get from that individual thing, but more of, how does this impact my ability to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing after that? When on Friday, when I anticipated the snow and we needed some stuff anyway for the weekend, I put in a grocery pickup order. I put it in first thing in the morning on Friday because I knew it
Smart.
was going to be bonkers.
It
And
was.
and I go to pick it up, and I called them, because have you ever done Hannaford to go?
We do it every week. It's amazing.
Oh, you know, there's the button that comes up on the app now where it's like, hey, I'm here. And so I'm literally driving in
Mm-hmm.
and I pull it up and it's not there. And
Hmm.
so I called them. I said, hey, I'm here, but I don't have the button to say, and they're like, oh, we didn't get a chance to call you. We're running really behind. We haven't even gotten to the 4 o'clock orders yet.
Oh gosh.
And I was, that's not great. And they said, do you want us to, push it back and give you a call later when it comes in, or go tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what we're gonna do, because Megan was going out and she was having dinner with a girlfriend on Friday night, and I was putting the kids down. So I was like, I don't know how we're gonna figure out me getting over there, but do it tonight,
Mm-hmm.
because if you wait till tomorrow, because they said noon
Yeesh.
tomorrow, I was like, it's gonna be picked clean. Like there's not
Right.
gonna be anything left. So just do it
Exactly.
tonight. And then they called me. It was probably 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night to say, hey, we have to cancel your order. We're not gonna be able to do it. And so I did what I should have done.
Yep. You did
And
everything within your control.
lifed. And
Mm-hmm.
so then I get into the situation of like, what am I going to do to make it so I can do the next thing? And it's not that I have to do it perfectly, but what am I going to do to make it so it can do the next thing? And so I was there, rope drop, 6:58 a.m.
Same.
on Saturday morning and there were 6 people in the store,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able to run through the store because I'll be honest with you. I do few things exceptionally well in this world. Watching me grocery shop is a sight to behold.
I believe it.
I am the cart doesn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
I move through that store
You're a man on a mission.
with surgical precision. I know where everything is. Like,
Do you
especially
start always going in the same direction?
I always start in the produce section.
Always start in the produce. I don't know
Always start in the
why.
produce
I always do it. Start in the
section,
produce and end with dairy.
and with dairy and frozen coming back. But I also know like which half of the frozen section, so I'm not going down a whole aisle. I'm not weaving through everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I
No
know where
wasted
I'm
energy.
going. No
Mhm.
wasted energy, and it doesn't stop. Like Megan has times she's playing catch up. I'm like, we're not stopping. Like, keep up, girl. We're on
The
a
bus
move.
is moving.
When the kids come,
Oh God.
you're in the cart. You're in the cart, because if not, you're getting left behind. We are moving.
No mercy. Jeff goes
got-
no mercy at Hannaford.
I got enough. I got basically my entire order. There was only 1 or 2 things that weren't there. I was at the checkout by 7:13
That's very impressive.
with a full cart of stuff
For 5 people.
for 5 people.
That's very
But again,
impressive.
it wasn't something where I was like, I'm doing a thing to get me for a week. What's the minimum effective dose to get me to the next opportunity? I got enough stuff to get us through Saturday, Sunday, and into
Yep.
Monday morning.
Yep.
And did I want to do that? It was like -2.
It was brutal.
Saturday morning was
Brutal.
colder than that, actually. With the wind chill, it was -30. My
Yeah.
hands were cold
Yeah.
in the time it took me to walk from my car in. Like, my
Right.
hands hurt.
Froze.
And
Mine
that-
froze touching the handle of the door. Because like
Absolutely.
any moisture that's on your hands froze immediately touching doorknobs.
It was so uncomfortably cold, and I could have just stayed in the, it would have been, and we had enough. Like, we could have pulled it off where it was just like, hey, just swing in, we'll run to the corner, we'll grab a couple of gallons of milk, we'll be fine. But it was no, like, this is at some point this is going to become a stressor. So let me try to navigate it for the sake of just my mental
Mhm.
health of having stuff for this circumstance. Now, do I need to go and pretend that the world is going to end and get all the feminine hygiene products and
God.
toilet paper and water bottles because we're
That's when,
going to,
like-
the apocalypse?
I started worrying about my preparedness when I was
Yeah.
in Hannaford because the things that I was like, these are necessities for a snowstorm, there was plenty of. I'm
They were
like,
all there. Yeah.
so no one else thinks of brie as a necessity? I
Yeah.
don't get it. I don't get
Nobody understands. Nobody's seeing this the same way that I am.
it. There's
But that
plenty
was
of brie and prosecco. I don't understand it.
just having a cheese tasting.
It's fine.
There are 4 types of sturdy cheese-bearing crackers in this aisle. I don't
Yeah.
understand what people's priorities are.
Priorities, people.
But
There was plenty of yeast because I made 2 loaves of bread yesterday, so I was able to do that. I don't need to buy bread. I can make it.
So it was getting the things that needed to get in order to, for the sake of, so that we could do the next thing a little bit easier. And so again, it's a reframe on what is the expectation. Did I get everything in the pickup quarter? Of course I didn't, because there were certain things that if I'm going to take the time to go in there, I'm not going to go looking for that thing, or it's out of the way, or it's not a necessity. And so I'm just going to leave it for now, and I'll get it another time.
In my next order. Yeah.
Yeah. I can order that on Monday or Tuesday. It'll be fine. The question was, what do I need in order to get me to the next thing?
Right.
So I'll tell a story, 2 stories about a client, and then paint it with the color of the biggest thing that's kind of going on for me right now, and why I'm thinking about it like this, which is I had a client who was gone over the weekend. And so we talked about, not this past weekend, the weekend before, and she lives in somewhere warmer, but she was in a spot where, thinking about the week, I said, obviously have something in place, like the vacation meal when you come back, have something in place for Monday and enough groceries to get you through Monday. And then when you get back on Monday, don't feel like you need to go to the store and get everything for the whole week. Just get it for a couple of days. And instead of doing your full midweek reset on, trying to get yourself to Thursday, just get yourself to Tuesday and chunk it into thirds instead of chunking it into 2 or trying to do the whole week. Just make it palatable, get you to the next thing to make it doable. And we did that, and she did well. And then she got to Friday, and she had, again, one of these unexpected things come up where she had to stay late at work due to the storm that was coming. Wasn't quite the same down there, but it was still coming, and she never stays late at work. And so staying late at work impacted her dinner. And so she ended up having a dinner that was not planned. And I said, that dinner, totally fine. Right. Like, we're not, and I said, you probably wouldn't have even mentioned that dinner to me if it hadn't been what she had for breakfast on that day, because she was not feeling great when she woke up for breakfast, and she didn't have feel up for her normal breakfast to make at home. So she took something on the road, and she took yogurt and some Pop-Tarts because they were in the house. And I'm like, do you like Pop-Tarts? And she's like,
no one likes Pop-Tarts.
Nobody likes Pop-Tarts. And I said, that was the moment, though, because having the Pop-Tarts colored how you felt about the dinner with your parents who were watching your kids and the couple glasses of wine. That actually might have been a positive thing if we had planned it, and on the heels of a long week where you kind of traveled, and then you came back and it was a crazy busy week of work, and then an extra long day to go and have a glass of wine or 2 with your parents and have a dinner. Like, that would have been probably an overall positive experience.
Right.
But it was colored by the fact that this choice was made in the morning. And so now you wouldn't have even mentioned dinner to me if this morning thing hadn't happened. And so that's what I'm talking about with the one decision. It's not about that decision in and of itself. It's about how it impacts not just what happens, because I actually don't think that having the Pop-Tarts in the morning impacted her decisions for dinner that night. I think I think that dinner would have been that dinner regardless, due to the circumstances that were beyond her control. But how she felt about it was impacted by the decision that she made in the morning, which was due to a lack of having options available to her for the on-the-go stuff, and opting for something that she's like, I really didn't even like. I would have rather had nothing.
Right.
I was like, gas station banana probably beats Pop-Tart, because ain't nobody ever eaten a Pop-Tart and been like, that hit. Like
I
that
felt
slaps.
great.
That
Yep.
slaps. Like that was
Yep.
exactly what I wanted to eat. Like
Yep.
you've never done that. And unless you were 7, and
I think it was like when I was a kid,
when you're
but
a kid, the
your
Little Debbie
palate is
cosmic brownies, were awesome. And
don't
then
you dare come for my Little Debbie's.
but
I
when
haven't
you
had one in probably 30 years,
I
but
know,
don't you
but
dare come for my memories of the Little Debbie's.
100%. But if you have them now, you're like, this is
This is
mediocre at
gross.
best.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's a reason why these could live through an apocalypse.
Banned in most countries.
Yeah, they are. They are cosmic because they are glowing. That they glow in the dark. That's what they do.
That's true.
It is. So we're because we weren't prepared,
Mm-hmm.
and then we didn't opt for life lifed a little bit, which was like, hey, I'm not feeling good, because it was just,
Yeah.
hey, I'm not feeling good. We didn't have a plan B or an option or whatever it was for an alternative, and so then that was kind of where we left it. And so the learning experience, it wasn't an indictment on her, but it was, hey, this is the frame through which we make our choices, and also what can we do differently next time. Is the yogurt, totally fine. We
Mm-hmm.
just, hey, can we grab some fruit or something
Mm-hmm.
else as a way to kind of complete the meal for the on the go, because then it would have made the next thing easier. And so when lifes, we make decisions. And there's a business phrase that my Alex, who I mentioned earlier, who's been he was my first coach when I started with OTM. He's been a mentor to me for 4 years now. Has a phrase he talks about on your bare ass minimums, your BAMs. Like, what are the things that you're going to do come hell or high water that are not necessarily, if you did that all the time, you wouldn't get where you want to go. But those
Right.
are just like, can we keep it afloat for a minute? Can we keep the business afloat so when we have the next opportunity, we're in a better spot to do it? I am feeling way better about doing my workout tomorrow because I did it yesterday. I was in a at least slightly better headspace, not a great headspace yesterday, because I did that thing for myself than I would have been if I hadn't. And again, I don't expect it to change everything. I was in a better spot for the weekend because I grabbed some of the things rather than none of the things. And so when we think about when lifes, what is a reasonable expectation for ourselves in the moment, and what is the purpose of what it is that we're doing? Because it's not always to move the needle. Like, I wasn't trying to get a lot stronger yesterday morning.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't trying to burn a lot of calories.
Right.
I was just trying to move my body for the simple fact that it makes me feel better. That was the goal of yesterday. And so if I have that as the expectation, then I can measure it appropriately. And so I wanted to share that. And I want to end with this because, as odd as this may seem for all of you, because you listen to it, this podcast, interestingly enough for me, because we're over 120 episodes in
Yeah.
to doing this has kind of become a little bit of a time capsule for me in my life, as has my social media, and as has a lot of things. Because oftentimes, as you've noticed, the things that color what we talk about are the things that I'm often talking about with clients, that I'm often experiencing in my own life, in my own business. And so it is an insight into the things that are happening for me. And so I want to have this, and it's also a place for me to kind of verbally process through oftentimes what things are going on. And so we're in a spot right now where I'm going to be, this week for my business is a bare ass minimum week. This week for a lot of things is a little bit of a bare ass minimum week for us. Tomorrow I'm going to be fine. Tomorrow we're going to put our dog down.
No, Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So I want to just talk about him for a little bit, if I can,
please
for a
do.
minute. So dang, man, that happened fast.
It does.
So our dog Shiloh, he would have been 16 in March. He's 15 and almost a month and a half. He would have been 16 years old. Megan got him the summer before we met. So Megan and I met the fall semester of my sophomore year, her junior year. She got him that summer beforehand when he was a couple months old, And I love telling this story because this was the moment that shocked me and why even there's a world. 'Cause I say all the time, and she doesn't like when I say it because she is somebody who loves words of affirmation. She takes words of affirmation so terribly. But I'd say all the time, nobody tell her that she's out of my league. Like it's pretty wild. And I genuinely mean that. Like I'm not being silly because Shiloh plays a funny role in how that came about, which was we were in class together and you'll hear two different versions of this story if you ask her or me, but I'll tell my version of it, which let's be honest, this is the true version of it. But I was having a hard time. I came back from a weekend. I think it was a long weekend. So it was either Thanksgiving or it was Columbus Day weekend or something like that. And I was home and my mom was driving me back and I was saying like, I'm just having a hard time getting out there and, meeting some new folks. It was my sophomore year and I had a group of friends, but I was trying to introduce myself to some other people as well. And she's like, you just got to put yourself out there. And so we took an Education 500 class together, which is Intro to Education. So we were doing mini internships and we had a once a week 2-hour like cohort where everybody from the Dover school districts, we got together and we talked about our experiences. And we were both at Dover High School, but there was also some Dover Middle School folks there. And one of the guys who was at Dover Middle School talked about how he had this cool experience of being asked to be a chaperone for the ski club. And so he went skiing with the kids basically for free for several hours, got transportation to and from, and, was a great experience. And I was like, I wonder, Megan happened to be sitting next to me. And I was like, I wonder if there's something like that for the high school. And she's like, that would be really cool. I was like, well, afterward, I said to her, this was my bold, gallant move, like a knight,
Yeah.
I said, well, I can look into it if you want me to at the high school. And
Swept her
she
right
was
off her
like,
feet.
and she said, yeah. And I was like, well, I think if I had your number, I could let you know.
Smooth.
See what I did there?
That was smooth. That was really smooth.
And so, but again, you look at my wife, and my experience is like people who look like Meg. We're not talking. And again, you haven't maybe seen pictures of 19, 20-year-old Jeff. Like, dude was a little bit homely. I had the shape,
hard to believe,
the buzz cut hair, and my UNH hoodie, and my 2 baggy pants, and my Timberland boots, and that was my vibe. Yeah, it was a rough vibe.
Yeah.
And so I got the number, and I didn't expect, but my hope was maybe there is this, right? And I can send her a message, and then I can get to know her on the trip, right? We're co-chaperoning this thing. That was my thought, but there wasn't a thing. There was not a Dover High School, or at least the opportunity for us to go chaperone it. And so I sent her a text to say something to the effect of, hey, there's no thing, bummer. And fully expected her to be like, thanks for checking and see you never, essentially. And I forget exactly what her first response to that was, but it was something that kind of invited a little bit more conversation about an assignment that we had. And so we were kind of messaging back and forth about this assignment that we had. This might have been a couple of weeks later. And it was due the next morning. And I, sent her something to do with like my attempt to re-engage her in conversation. Like, are you still working on this thing? And she said, I'm trying, but my study buddy fell asleep on me. And I
You're
said, "Oh,
like,
really?"
oh,
I said, "Oh,
heart
really?"
crushed.
And I was like, "Oh, really? That's a bummer." And then she sent me a picture of Shiloh sleeping like on her lap while she's writing this paper. And that was the moment where like her wittiness came out, because Megan's incredibly witty. And I wouldn't have thought that, and certainly that she would have engaged me with that. And so Shiloh's just, he's been there the entire time that I've known Megan. And through, I joke all the time, I called him my stepdog, because he
Hmm.
was Megan's, and he
Yeah.
calls me Jeff. Like, that's what, like,
It's not dad, it's Jeff.
it's not dad, it's Jeff. But I've known him for almost his whole life. It was that fall. It was, he was 6 months old when I met him for the first time. And he's just been around for everything. And through all of the different seasons for us, and with the kids, it's one of those things where when you have kids, you kind of wonder how the dog is going to be with kids. And we got three little ones. They don't really get anything, and they can just beat the poo out of this dog, and he just won't care. He's just like there to
Happy to be
snuggle with
there.
him, happy to be there.
Hmm.
We used to, when it was just us, we take him to the beach or take him to the park and go for walks. And during COVID, when Megan was pregnant, before we had Levi, we'd go for a walk. You remember, you'd go for walks during COVID because there's nothing else to
Nothing
do. It
else
was
to
a big
do.
thing, and we'd just take him for these long walks and take him for runs. And yeah, um, he's just been a good dog. And uh, I've gone through this, a few times, where it was my childhood dog, which was my mom's, similar situation to Megan, when
This
I
is
was
different.
probably 7 or 8. And then it was the one that we got when I was probably 12. But then I moved out of the house, so I wasn't around him for a lot of his life. This is the one. I mean, I've lived with him for 10 years.
This is different.
And um, it's also just, I'm my I can tell how it's hard for me. I did quite a bit of crying yesterday, when
Hmm.
it kind of came to the realization that this is happening. But um, it's also just heartbreaking for me to see how much it's impacting Megan, and
Yeah. And you need to be strong for her.
which is,
Sucks.
yeah. And the kids kind of get it, they kind of don't, and so they're gonna say things with no filter, like, so
Of
the first
course.
time we mentioned it, they're like, "So are we gonna get a new pet?" And we're like, "Oh my gosh, guys!"
Not yet.
um, but he's just kind of gotten to the point now where, um, it, we'd be keeping him around for us, and he's keeping it together as best he can for us, but we can tell,
Yeah.
um,
You're doing the right thing by him.
we're trying to, um, but obviously with all of that, it's all of the emotions that have been kind of coming with it and will continue to come with it. And so, when I think about the idea of like tomorrow morning, like, am I going to wake up and work out? Like, yeah. And I'm going to do that not because of anything other than like, want that space for a minute, to have that space where it's just, oftentimes it'll just be me and him. Hasn't been as much anymore, but he used to. Um,
I totally 100% get that. The morning we put our last pup down, I was at the gym because I needed to be. I needed that time. I needed that group.
yeah.
Even if like they didn't know what was going on, just being in the room with them was what I needed.
Yeah.
So I'm so sorry. There's just,
Yeah.
let me know what you guys need. I'll make a meal, drop it
Mm.
off.
No, I appreciate that. I don't think that it's something that, you know, we're in need of that. I think the it's where we're at is, and where I'm at, and kind of the takeaway from this is, when life has a way of lifing, which
Yeah.
this is a whole big one.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure we have reasonable expectations
Mm-hmm.
of ourselves, and then also recognize how doing nothing oftentimes is worse, not just in the moment, but for the long term. And so doing something to try to take care of ourselves in the midst of it is really challenging. And so I'll say this, and this will be the only thing I'll say about everything that's happening in the world right now, because I think it's in light of this. Um, there's a lot happening in the world right now, and we can't control a lot of that. We can't control most of that. And so, amidst all of that, we try to take care of ourselves and take care of the people around us. And oftentimes, sometimes the best way we can take care of the people around us is by taking care of ourselves and having reasonable expectations based on the circumstances for what it is that we're going to do. But know that we're making decisions that are taking care of future us, that are going to make their lives just a little bit marginally easier by making those decisions. And so I would encourage you, kind of regardless of where you're at today and what might be going on, to think about what you can do, however small, even if it feels inconsequential, it's not, and see if you can stack something else on top of that. But appreciate y'all listening. And yeah, I'm sorry if it was a little bit of a downer at the end there, but um,
It's okay. It's okay. That's what we're here for.
yeah, he's a good dog.
He's a good boy. He did a good job.
He did. And that was kind of what I was talking with him about last night, is when we were trying to make the decision. I looked at him and I said, "Hey, bud, like, you did a good job. Like, you're you can rest easy. We'll be okay." So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. This has been the Fit Parent Podcast. Talk to you soon.